Hey, good morning, everybody. Yeah, it is Saturday, May 24th. It is the start, if you will, of Memorial Day weekend 2025. And what a way to start off, if you will, when it comes to this comic series, because we are now on the 58th page. And as predicted, we just spent the past 7 weeks, almost 2 months, with Sabrina's family, and now we're back to ZigZag's portion of the story. And well, it was hinted at, in the last part that she was in after she saw her brother and her sister and her grandparents. And now we're getting that conclusion here with the 58th page of Stripes and Links. And that is her coming face to face with her mom. And right off the bat, you can tell it's a very awkward situation because of the past. But they say, sometimes to bury the hatchet and reconcile and everything, especially after not seeing each other for a while and after what you've both been through, awkwardness is always going to be, a starting point. You just got to find that smooth path to just start talking and trying to figure out, where, things went or how things went wrong and what could have been avoided. And also for ZigZag, she wants to try to get, like I said, the answers as to basically why she's the way she is. And I like the dynamic here because the first two panels of the story, you see this different figure. You think at first it's Endora, but it's not, because this person has a cell phone, kind of like what I'm using to record this. She has a cell phone charging and it's going off, and it's not, obviously the phone ringing or buzzing or anything like that. No, instead, she has an app on her phone that basically lets her know when somebody's at the door. Somebody's ringing her doorbell camera, and when she sees it, or when she picks up the phone and everything, we do get a better look at her. I mean, we get her. I mean, all we get first is her body, just like her upper body and everything. And then when she picks up the phone to see who it is, we see her mouth, we see a little bit of her hair, and she's surprised by who's at the door. She's like, who? And then she's like, you. And then she hears on the other side, hey, that new doorbell camera is new, isn't it? Or something like that. She hears somebody. As a matter of fact, let me pull it up here. If you hear anything, I do apologize. But she basically comments on the other end, this being ZigZag. She comments of, hey, that doorbell camera is kind of new, right? And again, let me bring this up if you hear anything, guys. But yeah, this is what she says. She says basically, as I bring it up a little more, and I do apologize if you hear anything. She says, hey, that doorbell camera is new, isn't it? So, yeah, because basically, the person that, picks it up, this being ZigZag's mom, again, we don't fully see her until the third panel, but, she picks it up, she looks, sees that it's ZigZag on the other end, and she's surprised. She's like, who? And then she's like, you? And, and ZigZag like, hey, that new doorbell camera is new. Oh, that doorbell camera is new, isn't it? And she opens the door, and she tells ZigZag that she's surprised to see her. She's like, the way she says it is, and then she pauses. She's like, this is how it is. She's like, quote, surprised to see you. That's what she says. She says, basically, if YouTube's closed captioning picks it up this way, she says, her mom, basically, when she sees her, opens the door, she says, and she says, basically, ZigZag's mom, that is, she says, surprised to see you. She kind of pauses for a second, and ZigZag's like, hi, Mom. Like, ZigZag's like, hi, Mom. And her mom invites her in. She says, oh, please come in, and everything. And, she lets ZigZag in. She compliments and says, you're looking well. But she doesn't call her Tanya like the grandmother did in the last time we saw ZigZag with her family. Instead, she calls her ZigZag. She's like, you're doing well, ZigZag. That's what you go by now, isn't it? And ZigZag's like, ZigZag is fine, yes. And thanks, thanking her for, asking if she's doing well and all that, or saying she's doing well and all that, if you will. And then you get like this awkward, silent pause in the fifth panel. And then in the sixth and final panel, you have the mom look at her and basically say, I assume you're here. Yeah, not assume, but she's like, I presume you're here for a reason. And ZigZag, her response is, I'm still trying to figure that out. So, yeah, basically, ZigZag herself is still wondering why she's there. But again, the awkwardness between them, usually in any kind of story that's like this, is the start, basically the first start, if you will, to, hopeful reconciliation and making up for lost time, and also trying to figure out where things went wrong, how they could have been prevented. And, for ZigZag, she wants to know, okay, why am I the way I am? So it's a nice little start to the next part in the story involving ZigZag's family, and it looks like we're going to be with them for quite some time now. And it's going to be interesting to see what this, conversation is going to be about, and whether or not it's going to take a twist or a turn. Because some people are wondering, okay, we see the mom, are we going to see the dad? The one that has, been the source of all the trouble, been the source of ZigZag's pain and the mother's pain and ZigZag's siblings' pain and all that. Is he going to show up? We don't know. We don't know. But right now, it looks like it's going to be a very interesting, just one-on-one conversation between the two. I've got a feeling you might get some arguments going on and everything, but it'll cool down because, again, ZigZag wants to know, obviously, why she's the way she is. Why does she act the way that she does, when it comes to, being who she is. Because I'm sure she's going to let the mom know as to, what happened, kind of bring her up to date as to what occurred, and hopefully the mom will give her some answers as to why she is that way, whether she gets it from her father or surprisingly she might get it from her mother. Maybe her mom will come out and say, hey, it's not your father that you get it from, even though he's done a lot of shitty things to us. It's not him that you get it from. Instead, the way you are, you get it from me. And maybe we'll get a flashback as to how her mom was back in her younger days. And maybe, and I was thinking about this as I was reading it earlier, maybe ZigZag, when she reveals the name of Sabrina's mom, maybe her mom might recognize the name and there might be a connection. Like maybe both would have known each other back in their younger days, back in college. And maybe, the reason ZigZag is the way she is not just because she gets it from her mom and everything, but it's because her mom, would have done this kind of stuff back in college, and Endora would have been a part of that. But it's a side, a part of her life that Endora wants to lock away, kind of lock away in her mind and keep it in the past and never look back on it. But we'll find out soon. We'll find out soon and everything. But so far, I like this little start here to the new act, the new portion of the ZigZag, the new portion, I should say, of the ZigZag arc in the story. That's what I'm trying to say. I do like it, and I can't wait to see where Eric goes from here. People did comment on this. They did say that it's, really intriguing. Excuse me. It's really intriguing, and also wondering like how much input that Max Black Rabbit might have, because ZigZag is his character. So you got to wonder if maybe Max Black Rabbit, is collabing in some manners. Like maybe he's given the okay to, introduce ZigZag's family and go in this direction, and maybe base it off real life situations that he's dealt with. Who knows? But, it is interesting that, when you use somebody else's character, that you have to have permission from that individual to take them in a direction that, potentially you may not want to, they originally may not want to have them taken into. But once you convince them, hey, this is, the best way people will get to know who ZigZag really is. It's been, a long time in the making. I'm sure, once Eric explained that to Max Black Rabbit, Max was like, okay, no problem, but pass it by me as to what you're going to put in there. And maybe everything was cool by him. Maybe everything that Eric presented to him was cool. And maybe he said, hey, I like everything you're doing, but I also want to add a few ideas of my own. And maybe we'll find out. Maybe we'll find out down the line. But yeah, it's I guess you could say a very awkward kind of reunion right now between the two. But what's interesting though about her mom, and again we don't know what her mom's name is yet. We'll probably find out in the next couple of weeks. But basically, what's interesting about this is her mom has a doorbell camera that goes off. That when it's rung, it sends a vibration, or it sends a musical note or a sound, to her phone, so that she could see who it is on screen. And it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder if maybe the mom put that there because of the father. It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder if the mom put that there and had that installed because of the father and, what's been going on. And maybe we'll find out. Because ZigZag did say, hey, this doorbell camera is new, isn't it? Because, she wouldn't think, honestly, the last time she saw her mom, that her mom would be the kind to put a doorbell camera, or have it installed on the front door. So so maybe we'll find out the reasoning, and I'm kind of feeling that reasoning has to do with the father. Like, the father, like maybe the mother has a restraining order on the father, and the father wants to do what he can to get back into the house, get at her, and, having that doorbell camera is one way to prevent that from happening. Maybe that's why she had it installed. It's interesting it's interesting to see that be mentioned right off the bat in the story. So it kind of tells you, in my opinion, that maybe she did that for protective reasons. It's like, when you have security cameras installed either as part of your cable packages or individually you have them installed, like by, ADT, and who else is another one? Ring, and so forth, and whoever your a regional or local or statewide security system or national security system that you work with. Basically a lot of people over the years, in the decade, have had these installed because they want to make sure, like, especially especially with the doorbell cameras and all that, security cameras, they want to make sure who is at the door. They want to make sure, is it friend or foe, or is it a solicitor, and they don't want any solicitors or any business from solicitors. It is a good move. It's a good move to make. And based on what we've learned from, about ZigZag's past and earlier stories, and what we're learning now in this story, it definitely feels like the mother does not want to take any chances that the person that will try to come to her front door is the one person she does not want there, and that's the father. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting conversation over the next few weeks, because we know that's how long it takes in these stories with Eric, before we really get like to the meat of it, or to basically finding out the reasonings. So I'm looking forward to it. 58 pages. Can you believe that? 58 pages, 59 weeks when you think about it overall, but 58 pages, can you believe that? This is going on record as being the longest Sabrina online story he's ever done. We do know that he's done other stories that have had their own individual books, and I have some of those books, like Skunk's Day Out and First Steps, and I know he's got one that just came out based on the recent stories, like with Tabitha babysitting Holly and her husband, boyfriend's kids, and all that. So we know that's in there, and I think there's something with Sabrina and ZigZag as well in there as well. So they basically all interconnect, if you will. They all kind of interconnect, So we know that story's out. I got to get that book eventually when I get an opportunity. But overall, I'm liking, the story. I'm liking the dynamic, the discussions between the family members, trying to find out reasoning, trying to get them to reconcile, get them to, give somebody a second chance and all that. And we'll just, see we'll see what Eric takes the story from here. But like I said, very awkward start to the next part of the zigzag arc in the story, or the zigzag portion of the story, if you will. That starts as a new arc, to it is what I'm trying to say. So I'm looking forward to it, really am. It's definitely a departure, I will say this, when it comes to the hilarious ending we had the last week. So, yeah, it's a departure, but you know what? It's worth it because this is a moment a lot of fans have been waiting for, especially since the story began. But again, great start, great awkward start. I should say, great awkward start. Excuse me, great awkward start. And again, it definitely tells you a lot about the mom already. The fact that, her having a doorbell camera, being that from basically ZigZag's reasoning or expression, the way she talked about it, she wouldn't think her mom would be one to do that. But obviously, as I said, she's doing it for a reason, and that reasoning has to do with the father. That's what I'm thinking. So it's going to be interesting to see what the conversation is between the two. Because, as her mom points out, she is presuming, and correctly, that ZigZag's there for a reason, and ZigZag, give her credit. She is even admitting that she's still trying to figure out, why she is there and for what reason. But I think we're gonna have it, figured out over the next few weeks. But I like it, and that's all I can really say. And that's all I can say. I should say on page 58 of Stripes and Links of the Sabrina Online story. Let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Comment down below. Like the video. Ring the bell for notifications. Subscribe to the channel. Share the video. Click on the links in the description to find my content elsewhere outside of YouTube. It'd be greatly appreciated if you supported me and helped me in those areas as well. But guys, that's all I can say for now. Let me know what your thoughts are on the story so far. What are your thoughts on this newest chapter that just dropped today on Memorial Day weekend? What do you think is going to be the next step going forward between ZigZag and her mom? And what do you think, if there is a connection, that we'll find out, maybe between the mom and Sabrina's mom? Let me know what your thoughts are on that potentially, and also let me know your thoughts on whether or not we will get a Fur After Dark spinoff, either featuring Warren and Endora, or Endora and ZigZag, or just Zig and Tina links, that will tie into the story. Let me know down below, and until next time, guys, talk to you all later. Have a good Memorial Day Saturday.